Hi, this is Dr. Lassane, and we're here today to talk about the textbook assignments for your children's literature class. I'm here at Live Binders. I've already logged in, and so I've got my selections in front of me. I'm going to click on the binder for this particular class, LSSL 5360, for the spring semester, and we're going to focus today on the assignments for the class, specifically the textbook assignments. So I'll click on the link for assignments, and then click on the sub-tab that says Textbook Assignments, and finally click one more time on the Word document so that I can open it, and I elect to open it in a separate window. It works better for me that way. Notice that you can save this to your desktop that way, or if you prefer, you can just look at it within Live Binder. That's totally up to you. So let me just walk you through the directions. I know that you can read these, but I just want to highlight a few things that I think that are kind of important to you along the way. All of the textbook assignments here, the directions, are pretty similar in nature. I start with what textbook number of assignment this is. Then I list the books that are required that you have read for this assignment next. And then finally the directions are here. So this is an assignment for some picture books. Not all of them, but a handful of them. So you're going to read Martina the Beautiful Cockroach, Legend of the Bluebonnet, Where the Wild Things Are, Mirror, Mirror, The Three Pigs, It's a Book, and This Is Not My Hat. Although these are quite a few titles because they're 32-page picture books and there's lots of illustration in there, this should not take you a long time to read. What you're going to do for this assignment is apply the criteria for evaluating picture books to this set of books. So I direct you to go to Chapter 2 in the textbook. I've given you page numbers for those of you who have a physical book. If you are reading this in ebook, you'll just kind of have to fumble your way toward it, unfortunately. Hopefully e-readers will get better at that one day. I'm asking that you pay particular attention to two pieces of this chapter. The first are the visual elements of art, which you'll find on pages 53 and 54 in your textbook. And the second are the evaluative criteria for looking at picture books, found on pages 57 through 59. And basically what you're going to do for this particular assignment is apply the visual elements of art criteria and the evaluative criteria to each of the books for this assignment. You're going to explain using examples from the book how a particular book, for example, uses line if you're looking at that visual element. So you're going to give me some information that demonstrates to me, first of all, you've read the book, and second, that you know how to evaluate the book critically. In addition to doing that application, you're going to include for this assignment a paragraph or two talking about why it's important that you know how to evaluate picture books and how you might use something that you've learned in this particular assignment when you're in front of kids doing a library lesson. Now, this assignment can take any form or format you elect. You can certainly do it in an essay, you can do it in a chart or graph, in a spreadsheet, you can use Prezi, PowerPoint, Animoto, any app that you think might be applicable to this. There's not one correct way to do this in terms of form or format, and neither is there one correct answer for which book best exemplifies this criteria or that. I'm simply asking you to apply the evaluative criteria. The due date for this assignment is February 7th, and as in the case of all assignments, it's due by midnight. I encourage you to get it done beforehand and to make sure that you've left yourself sufficient time to submit it through Blackboard so that it does not come to me late. You can certainly submit early. I do my best to try to grade early work as soon as I get it, or within 24 to 48 hours of when you submit it. So it just kind of behooves you, if you can work ahead, to go ahead and do that. The second assignment you're going to see has a similar kind of setup and format. In this case, this is textbook assignment number 2. For that, you're reading Spiders, Magic Windows, It's So Amazing, Rosa, Balloons Over Broadway, How They Croaked, and Hitler Youth. 4 of these books are very short picture books. Balloons Over Broadway, a slightly larger and longer picture book, but still a picture book nonetheless. How They Croaked and Hitler Youth are more traditional formats for informational books. You're going to read Chapter 8 on informational books for this assignment and pay particular attention to the evaluative criteria found on pages 253 through 255. You're going to apply one criteria to each of the books here. So it's very similar to what you did for the first assignment. You're reading about the evaluative criteria, and now you're applying it to the book to show why this book is a good example of informational books for kids. And finally, you're writing a paragraph or two explaining how you're going to pass this knowledge along to students in a library lesson. What's important for students to know about informational books? Once again, this can take any form or format. I've made some suggestions here, but you are certainly not narrowed to just these. Your imagination is the only limit you have. This assignment is due February 21st, again by midnight. Textbook assignment number 3 asks you to look at the books that are modern realistic fiction or contemporary realistic fiction on our list. Dear Mr. Henshaw, Out of My Mind, Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Rules, and Bridge to Terabithia. These are lengthier works, of course. These are novels. These will take you some time to read. But again, remember that the assignment that you're doing is this one. There's no test. There's no quiz. I'm not going to come back and ask who's the main character and what color was the dog collar. It's about reading the books and getting a feeling for what these books are about. Hopefully, for some of you, it'll be a rereading of these books. So read Chapter 5 on contemporary realistic fiction in your textbook, again focusing in on the evaluative criteria on pages 157 through 160. You're going to write a brief annotation, that's 100 to 150 words for each book, that analyzes how the book meets at least 2 of the evaluative criteria. You have to cover all the evaluative criteria in the books, but only 2 per book. Stay within the stated word count here and notice that there is a required form and there are requirements for this particular assignment, and that I do ask that you include, in addition to the annotation, a cover for each of the books. This is due March 7th. Textbook assignment number 4 looks at historical fiction. The Watsons Go to Birmingham, 1963, We Are the Ship, and Good Masters, Sweet Ladies. For this, you're looking at Chapter 6 on historical fiction and once again focusing on the evaluative criteria on pages 189 through 192. Once you've read those, you're going to write a review of the book following the example that's given on page 192. So look at how that's done, look at the format that's there, make sure you use APA for your bibliographic citation, make sure you also include your book covers. So you're writing a review for each of these 3 books. That's due March 28th. And finally, textbook assignment number 5 looks at fantasy. The Underneath the Graveyard Book, Rapunzel's Revenge, Baby Mouse, Skullduggery Pleasant, The Invention of Hugo Cabret, Lunch Lady, and A Big Man Took My Ball. This is a lot of reading, which is why it's the final textbook assignment. You've got quite a while to get to it. Read Chapter 7 on fantasy, and again, you're looking at evaluative criteria. Those are on pages 218 through 220. In this case, you're applying 2 criteria to each of the books for the discussion and reporting out in whatever form or format you prefer or that suits the assignment from your point of view. Nothing specific here, just again, use your imagination. This assignment is due April 11th by midnight. I hope that this discussion, this review of the textbook assignments has helped you, but remember, if you have a question, you should contact me. I'll be happy to answer any and all questions you have about assignments. I want you to do well in the class. So, thanks for watching this screencast, and get to me with any questions you have.